Hello. It has been like a week and a half since the last devlog of this game, and now it's time to make another video about it. If you don't know what I'm talking about, well, specifically, I'm making a game, horror game, and I'm showing my progress on it, and that's it. If you hadn't seen the first part, I'll probably put a link down below, and if you're just coming back from the first one, I'm going to be reminding you these videos are going to be more shorter than the first one because the first one was dragged out for a long time. And also so is this intro. Alright, when I started up Studio, I wanted to change the flashlight because it does absolutely nothing when I click, move around, or run. So I started off with that by making a new script, starting fresh with the very basic knowledge of tools I know about. Anyway, I actually thought it would be harder, but it was easier, and after a bit of coding, I got it to turn on and off with ease. Now this time, I wanted to make the flashlight look a lot better than how it is right now. For example, the one in the Remastered. The flashlight in the game was considered an advanced flashlight, so I tried to replicate it and I started from there. I started with some simple animations. These animations would be soon used to simulate the player is holding the flashlight and turning it on and off. Also, during this time, I was thinking of ideas for making a main menu, since we all know main menus in horror games are better than just spawning in and knowing, well, nothing. And plus, when you press the play, this will make it so that the player can choose certain chapters, aka spots, in the game. But I'm not making them in this episode, maybe the next one. In another place, I tried my absolute best to make a main menu with a camera, and it looked actually pretty nice. So after finishing with the flashlight, I'm gonna try that. Okay. So after that, I ended up finishing the animations for the flashlight. Now once I was done with the animations, they started to look pretty bad after a bit. I'll list why. Number 1, the run animations with the tool makes it look jagged, and it seems kind of rushed. For number 2, the ray of light coming from the flashlight would go back into the player's vision, even though the arm that the flashlight is used in, the right arm, would go all the way back, so it would be no possible way for it to be able to see the actual light, but it just happens. And a third option is also because the animations were just rushed in general, so they don't look as good as they can be. So because of all those options, I started to work on the new animations, placing the old one. And also, if you're wondering why I have a flashlight welded to the character's arms, it's because it can be easier to see what we're working with the actual tool. Mainly the flashlight though. Regardless, I finished the animation after a little chunk of time, uploaded it, and now the new run animation is here. Little to no difference, but better than the last. I retired for the night after that. The next day, I started to work on an EtoInteract thing again from the last episode. If you haven't watched it, please go watch it down in the description. I mentioned that I tried to work on an EtoInteract, so I came back to that idea. The reason for this is because the game works better, as if instead of a click to interact, it was an E to interact, it wouldn't interfere with the flashlight. Afterwards, I started to work on it by taking references from other games that also use the EtoInteract. So I tried to replicate that in general. Regardless, after me trying to use collection service for the doors and having it not work. After that, I ended up getting it done. It was simple. All we needed to do was check it. After a lot of checking and a few questionable prints, we now have this. Next day, I was playing some games and noticed some custom loading screens. So I wanted to try that. For this specific reasoning of making this, I don't have much to talk about. So anyway, this is a budget time lapse for you. Afterwards, I decided to just go to bed. Another day rolled around and I started to work on the main menu again. This main menu kind of looks like the one from LyreLeTemps, which is because this game is also pretty much half inspired by that game, if you didn't know. Anyway, after some work on the main menu and also setting up some cameras to show a sort of environment around the game on the actual main menu, like the main menu in LyreLeTemps, but with multiple cameras that switch back and forth. And also making sure that it actually looks good with tweenings of a black screen, and now it looks like this. Personally, I can't really find a game with a main menu that looks like this, so I am pretty proud of it. A bit later, I wanted to try and edit the chapter save script, since it was meant for something else, aka chapters and not cache. Furthermore, after that, I made a part in the workspace that added to the chapter value in the leaderboards. I'm going to be using this later so it can actually detect which chapter the player has unlocked so that they can choose from the menu. Anyway, including everything that I have said, that is all in this video. This specific one is quite a bit shorter, since most concepts of what I was doing weren't as important as just starting out. Hopefully, the next video will be longer, but besides that, the status for this project is going pretty well. Also, before I go, I want to thank everyone who has supported in any type of way in the last video. That specific video is one of the fastest growing videos I have posted. Thank you all for recognizing this series. If you want to see this project's continuation, then you can maybe consider liking. Plus, I always say the same thing at the end of each video, is that I do not completely care.